Hello, hello. Welcome to the fourth episode of the Iggy and Billy podcast. So you might be a bit confused. Where's Billy? Um, at least for the beginning of this podcast, I wanted to talk to you guys by myself. That and Billy's late for work, or he's coming home late, rather. The reason why I wanted to talk to you guys myself is because this topic hit close to home for me, and Billy doesn't honestly give a fuck. Not that he doesn't care about what's going on, but it doesn't matter to him personally, as he's not fans of this YouTube channel, and I am. I want to talk about the game Grumps. Now, a lot of you, if you're up to date on the situation, might be rolling your eyes. You're entitled to do that. Because you may say things along the lines of the original poster already said that it was all fake. Untrue. That the Dan already came out with a statement, which is a bullshit statement, and we'll get to that. And that he did not groom anyone. That part I agree with, at least. So we'll get into that. To give you some context, I've been a Game Grumps fan since 2013. I watched their first video in 2012, I believe, but I've been watching consistently since 2013. I bought a bunch of Ninja Sex Party albums signed because I wanted to support them. They were extremely important to me. I have probably watched more Game Grumps and listened to Dan and Aaron talk than I have my own mother and father. Probably an exaggeration, but I've watched a lot of their videos. Sleep aid compilations of 12 hours that I've gone through at least 12 times. Watching their best of months of best ofs over and over and over again. And watching consistently their series as they came out till about 2015, 2016. I watch these guys more than any other media out there. More than any TV show, more than any movie, more than really anything I can think of, if I'm being honest. So that's why when I saw on Twitter that Dan had been accused of grooming a younger fan, I was in a state of shock. I read the Reddit thread, and originally I was very skeptical. I think everyone was, and I think everybody is when you want to believe that the people you care about aren't monsters. And I spoke with Sarah, and she kind of explained to me why it was so serious and how heartbroken she was. And I started to understand it more. Then the more I looked into it, more news came out about how the post doesn't really have great evidence. Now, the tweet about this person was not the original Reddit poster. I want to make that clear. That's clearly not the case. That is a narrative that's been led on a bunch of people that don't want this to happen. They had the same profile picture. Whoop-de-fucking-do. They've said themselves they are not the person that made it. I have no reason not to believe them. The people on Reddit that actually posted it made another statement the last few days that said they don't have a Twitter account. So why would I? That's such a stupid thing to lie about. So I don't see that part being a lie. The evidence itself was very misleading. The fact that a lot of the names were covered up, the fact that a lot of the pictures were photoshopped and didn't show a lot of information, the fact that he messaged her when she was 17 is weird. It's weird. It's not incriminating, but it's fucking weird. Did he groom her? From the messages that we see, you cannot assume that. Well, okay. You could probably assume anything you want, but it's not incriminating is what I mean. The messages are not saying this is a grooming. The fact that they had sex in 2017 when she was 22. Originally, I was like, who gives a shit? And then Sarah explained it to me in a way of, the Game Grumps have always claimed that they are feminists. They've talked about how much respect matters and to respect women and respect everybody. And yet it seems from multiple accusations that I've read through, there are multiple, by the way, in case you weren't aware of that, that this is a trend of Danny's. Not to groom or to have sex with underage girls, but to have sex with groupies that are in the 20 to 24 age range. One girl said she had a tattoo of Danny, even, or at least a Game Grumps tattoo. And if that's not a groupie, if that's not a power imbalance, I don't know what is. A lot of you would say, and I used to say this myself, well, you know, they did it in the 80s. Doesn't make it okay in the 80s. Doesn't make it okay. A lot of these women decided that they would have sex with Dan. And that's completely fine. And it's nothing in the accusations ever calls Dan a rapist. None of them say that. They say that some of them do say he's a predator. But it was consenting adults. The issue is, from what I've read through the accusations, is that he made these women feel special. And the second he was done with them, he dropped them like a sack of shit. So basically, from the way I can read it, with the accusations that are there, he took groupies that have a massive power imbalance here. They think he's otherworldly. He made them feel like there's a chance of a relationship, made them feel like princesses, and the second they weren't of use to him, he dropped them like they didn't matter. For a person that claims to be a feminist, that is not a very feminist thing to do. Now, a lot of you would say, well, Dan's statement. Dan said that nothing he did was wrong and everything was with consenting adults. And you know what? He did say that. He also said that if I did anything to upset anyone, I'm sorry that I upset anyone. So basically what he's saying is, sorry your feelings got hurt. Which is a shitty apology. It is. And when you're saying to your spouse, like, hey, I didn't actually mean it that way, like, I was not trying to hurt you when I said that, is one thing. Saying that, sorry, you thought it was more than a fuck buddy. Guess I should have, I mean, not even, I'm sorry, I should have made that more clear. Not even that. Sorry that you're hurt about this. In my mind, What Danny should have done from the beginning is made it very clear to these women that this is what this is. And then the women are held responsible to know that this is what this is. But if you make it seem like this woman is the world to you, and you drop her like a sack of shit the second that you're done objectifying her, then you're at fault. And a lot of you would say, okay, well, where's Danny's side of this story? I'd love to know. I would fucking love to know. I would love for Danny to come out, and I would love for him to say, listen, here's my side. Here's me saying to all these women that I did this. I told them that this is what this is. I told them that. And they still aren't doing this, so they are legitimately just trying to cancel me because they can. I would have loved to hear that. What I wanted was acknowledgement. I wanted the Grumps to have a scandal that they actually fucking pay attention to. And instead, we got a video the next day. We got no tweets from anyone ever addressing it. And we basically got, I think, 2 news organizations that got a statement that is dog shit. A dog shit 2 to 3 sentence statement that is, throw it in the trash. It is worthless. It's fucking worthless. Because, Dan, this is not the only person to say this. This is the first person to say grooming. I'll give you that. But this is not the first person to say that you have done this shit. And instead of coming out and saying, I have done some things I'm not proud of, and I want to apologize to every woman that I hurt, because I had this horrific power imbalance, and I was young, and I was stupid. He was 34 when this started, by the way, so he wasn't that fucking young. And the power got to my head, and I didn't think about who I was hurting. Something along those lines. We got none of that. We got nothing. We didn't even get an acknowledgement. And for a fucking YouTube channel that fucking preaches feminism, you didn't even acknowledge the woman. You didn't. You didn't acknowledge any wrongdoing. You did nothing. If you want people to respect you, why wouldn't you address it? And I know all your fans, I mean most of them, you had a lifelong fan here. Again, 2013. An OG. To an extent. First video I watched, John was in. And I haven't watched you since. And I don't plan on watching you again. I will never watch Game Grumps again. I might watch their old clips for old time's sake. I won't be watching a new episode of Game Grumps. I won't be. Ninja Sex Party, maybe in a year. Maybe in a year or two. Because I could still listen to Michael Jackson. I could still listen to Eminem. There's lots of people that have done horrible things that I could still listen to their music. So I might still be able to listen to Ninja Sex Party again. I won't be able to watch Game Grumps. And I won't be buying your CDs. I might put away the CDs I have. Until you come out with some kind of acknowledgement. Some kind of inkling of wrongdoing. Or proving me that you haven't done anything wrong. Instead of a 3-sentence statement that means fucking nothing. Because honestly, I want to bring this up. Honestly, I think you've probably changed. I almost guarantee you've changed. And I pray to God you have, because you have a committed relationship right now. And I'm really happy for you. I've always been happy for you that you're in this really committed relationship. That's great, man. That's fucking great. Acknowledge that you've done something wrong, though. I've done some awful shit. I have. And I'm not proud of them. I'm not proud of any of that shit. But I don't have the platform that you do. And if one day I do have that platform, I will probably have to speak on some of these things. Maybe not. But maybe I will. And if I do, then I've been smart about it. But I just found it horrific to see someone that I praised and I supported for so long objectify his female fan base like they weren't anything but a quick fuck to him, when all he preaches is respect. And I think, honestly, it wouldn't have hurt as bad if I got some kind of video, a tweet, anything. We got nothing. We got nothing. And that's why I'm not watching Game Grumps anymore. I'm watching Super Manga instead. Still affiliated with those guys, and you know what? They're allowed to. You know? But, just really disappointed. Just disappointed. They were so much of my humor and so important to me growing up. And like everyone will say, like, you know, they aren't your friends, they aren't your people, but that doesn't mean they're not a huge part of your life. You know? Because, yes, I didn't know them personally, but I watched them every day. And for a while, when I was going to bed, I would bring up a video and be like, oh, I can't watch them. Like, I can't bring myself to do it. And that hurt. That hurt a lot. And if you guys to ever own up to your shit, then I'll come back. I'll happily come back. Because I do genuinely love all of your content. And I always have. And I'll miss it a lot. I'll miss it a lot. But I cannot bring myself to watch that shit anymore when you preach respect and preach feminism and you don't even acknowledge this shit. You don't tweet. You don't put out a video. You just wait a while. At least on Twitter, on social media. Aaron and Susie are back to tweeting. You waited about a week. And you don't even address it. Sickening. Not taking any responsibility. And it's pretty pathetic. So I hope you address it at some point. And if you do, I will happily come back. Happily. Because I do really genuinely love your guys' content. And have for a very, very long time. So I guess that's my piece. Billy is set to come back. So we will continue with the rest of the podcast.
I was held up on the Suez Canal, so I'm slightly late. There was kind of a bit of a traffic jam going on.
Bit of a
Sorry about
blockage.
this. Bit of a blockage, yeah.
Okay, well
Yeah.
you're not forgiven. But we'll continue with the show anyway. So the first topic that we're going to talk about with you here today, Billy, is the Cinnamon Toast Crunch scandal. The
All right.
scandal. So if you were up to date with the story, and this is kind of old news by now, I'm sorry, we record once a week. What do you want from me?
I genuinely am a day late because I fell asleep.
That's true as well. We're recording this on Monday, which last week was also recorded on a Monday. But basically, what happened was that a guy tweeted Cinnamon Toast Crunch and said, "Hey, what the fuck is this? There are shrimp tails in my Cinnamon Toast Crunch. The fuck."
Well, they weren't lying about the crunch, were they?
True. The thing was that Cinnamon Toast Crunch called him a liar. They basically said that it was not shrimp tails. It was just a collection of the cinnamon sugar that had not been broken down properly, and that's what it was.
To be fair, that looks. I was thinking when I first saw it, I was thinking it might be even the cinnamon toast crunch actually crushed up.
Bro,
when I saw it.
When you look at some of the other pictures, though, the thing is that
is there more pictures?
Oh god, yeah, he found more shit in it. But he also said that the bag was taped up, which is weird.
Okay, yeah, that is weird. Why would you buy a bag that's taped up?
Well, it's in a box, Billy. You don't see the bag before you buy it.
You'd see the box is open.
Well, he's saying the bag in the box was taped up. He didn't say the box was taped up.
The box doesn't have to be taped off. It can just be open.
This is why, from the start, I was like, this is kind of sketch, and I don't know if I believe this guy. Then, the story evolves. Okay, the next thing he does, he says, I'm going to go take this to a lab then and have it tested. The second new thing that comes out is that he's actually married to Topanga from Boy Meets World. So this story keeps getting more interesting. You're like, I've never heard of this guy, and he's married to Topanga, for God's sakes?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Then it got unfortunate. And this is basically the world we live in now, where every happy story eventually turns into abuse. And basically what happened was a bunch of his old coworkers, male and female, basically came out and said that he was an abuser and he was a horrible human being. I believe one of his ex-girlfriends said that he told me that I should kill myself and take the easy way out or something along those lines. Basically saying her life wasn't worth... Yeah, basically saying that her life was not even worth killing, was something along those lines. Like, he said some vile shit. And again, it's an accusation.
Here's me thinking he pressured someone for, like, illicit pictures. No, this is straight up kill yourself.
No, this is not... I never said he was sexual allegations.
You did not say that.
Is his abuse allegations. So apparently
full abuse.
He's a fucked up human being. And I think there was also sexual abuse stuff too, but I don't remember, to be honest. It was really bad. Is this guy
on the same level as Richard Ramirez and that hockey guy you spoke about? Is he on that level for you? Yeah, you said there was a hockey guy who was a piece of shit and should die. Was it a hockey guy? I don't know. It was in the first.
Harold Ballard? Harold Ballard is an overreaction. I won't lie about that. This guy, Harold Ballard might be as bad as this guy. I don't know about Harold Ballard's past girlfriends or anything, but he did say once that he wouldn't speak to a female reporter because she didn't have a real job and she didn't respect him. Or no, he didn't respect her in her position, basically. So he's a piece of shit.
It was like the podcast before you were saying, "Oh, this is a." I don't agree with the death penalty. We're gonna have it as for worse people. Ballard should die.
Yeah. So speaking of the death penalty, we'll get into that topic later. But basically, it's just another thing that goes to show, like, hey. And it's the same kind of situation that I talked about earlier with, the Game Grumps accusations is there's so many of them that something has to be said. And, like, realistically, I've stopped following the story once I found that out because I'm going to be honest, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't know this person. If they're a piece of shit, they're a piece of shit. And fuck them. I didn't know who they were before any of this shit happened, so that will just remain the same thing, right? Whereas,
No point witch hunting someone you don't even know about.
Exactly. It's not like it's not someone I can cancel if I didn't even know they existed in the first place. You know what I mean? This isn't like
more attention.
Exactly. This is like the opposite of the Game Grumps situation. Them I watched every fucking day, whereas this is like, I don't even know who the fuck you are. I know more about your wife than you. Like, my day is not ruined other than the fact that, oh my God, the one funny thing we had so far turns into this shit. So yeah. it was fascinating story. So, who knows? Maybe it'll be more interesting as it goes along, and we'll have to get back into it. But the next topic I wanted to talk about was a little bit more upsetting in a way. We've talked about feminist issues on the show in the past.
One second. Wait, I'm just gonna... Did you have a haircut?
No.
Okay. It's just there is nothing.
My hair is disgusting, so I peeled it back as far as I could and just threw my hat on.
And you put it...
So,
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
There was just nothing there. I was like, hang on a second.
Yeah, no, I literally 5 seconds before you came on, I was like, I look disgusting. Like, I gotta do something. So, yeah, basically, we've talked about feminist issues on the show in the past. And as I said the last time we talked about this, who better to hear from than two straight white men? But in this, I think it's somewhat important for us to talk about it, so I do want to talk about it. The first thing I'll say is that Sarah and I watched our favorite Overwatch League team, the Toronto Defiant, have a Women in Gaming I believe it was a seminar. I don't know. It was a live stream. And they just talked about, the struggles of being a woman in the gaming industry and the culture and what that's all about. And it was really powerful to hear some of the shit that was said. A great example is Zoe, who is the main host for the Overwatch League, said in that seminar that basically she worked with an organization as a caster, and a lot of the chat was basically saying she had no idea what the fuck she was talking about because she was a woman. And the organization, first off, bullshit. The organization didn't allow her back because they were basically like, whatever you're on, the chat is pretty bad, so we're going to let you go.
Again, bullshit.
Yeah, which is so fucked up because, you shouldn't be listening to your chat if you're an organization. No. It's the same sports fan that yells that they have to trade the best player on the team. People are fucking stupid. All right? No.
Yeah, just look at us two.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it was just really eye-opening, and I think the one thing that they said that hit me was a lot of the questions revolved around, as men, what can we do to make you feel more comfortable? And they were saying that fuck the stigmatism towards simping, fuck the stigmatism towards white knighting or any of that. If you see sexism in a game, call it out. And if the woman doesn't like it, then obviously stop. But in general, your immediate reaction should be to call it out. Because they said nothing feels better to them than when one guy's a piece of shit and the rest of the team just piles onto that guy to defend the woman. And they said, this whole simp or white knighting thing, for defending a woman, all of a sudden, I'm a simp, I'm a white knight, I'm just trying to get in her pants or whatever. It's gross. It's honestly gross. Just for defending a woman from getting abused and harassed.
I mean, I'll take the piss out of you for it, no matter what.
Yeah.
That's never going to stop. I'd say it as a joke.
Again, they're jokes, though, right? Like, a lot of these men online are fucking strangers compared to me and you being buddies. It's just different. Oh, yeah. And, it's gross, man. It's gross, some of the shit that I've heard. And I hate it. And I've always been avoiding confrontation on it, and I've decided to change that. Once I watched this seminar, I said, I'm not going to, a lot of the times I was like, not getting involved, not touching it. It's going to start a fight. I don't want to start a fight. Like, but now I'm going to speak up because I think it's something that women need to feel comfortable gaming. And men have just decided for some reason that they feel threatened by women playing video games. And it's fucking infuriating. And
shit, I mean, if anything, women are better at video games than guys are because they have more concentration.
In certain games, yeah. I mean,
Taryn kicks my ass. She just fucking. She's better than me at Siege, and I hate saying that, but she fucking.
I'm gonna be honest. I've played you in Siege, and I'm not surprised to hear that in the slightest. What
you
game?
Go fuck yourself.
What,
I was.
Billy, when have you played a game and seriously tried?
I've never seriously tried.
There you go. Like, every time Billy plays anything, he's trolling. 9 times out of 10. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's how you enjoy playing video games, that's fine.
Shit, I mean,
just never play ranked with him.
I'm going to bring this up real quick. We've found this game called Slapshot Rebound. It's a fucking little free game. And he's looking at me because he knows it's a shit game. But it's really shitty in a good way.
It's not even shit,
It's not shit. No, it's not shit. It's good. But it's shit, if you know what I mean.
It's good shit.
Good shit. Yeah.
It's good shit.
And I troll on that. And if I troll on that, then I troll on fucking anything. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. It's such a... But
we managed to force a member of our own team to play for the other team. That's how
I'm
bad
sorry,
it got for me.
You did that. I didn't do that.
Yes, I did that. You were saying goal.
I can't play a game and not take it seriously. It's a problem.
No, I have to not take it seriously. Otherwise, I'm not going to end up with a monitor.
Yeah, that's kind of fair. But no, it's the reason why I'm kind of bringing all this up is that there's been quite a few things I've seen of late that are blatantly sexist, and I'm pretty fucking sick of it. The one that really hit me hard and basically put me in a state for at least 24 hours was one of my favorite streamers, Katie. Katie Louise, go follow her on Twitch. She's an angel.
Damn fucking right.
She streams full time, and I don't know, 4 or 5 times a week, maybe. She streams a lot.
That's how. Right? Yeah, she streams a fucked up.
So, and it's her job. It's how she makes her money. And one day, recently, she streamed and she had a lower cut top on. Now, this is very rare for Katie, and she has spoken about this in the past where a lot of times she always wears high cut because she does not want to hear about it. And it's always hard for her anytime she wears low cut, so she actively avoids it. The last time before this time, I remember I watched a stream with where she had a low cut top, and she said she literally didn't have a choice. Like, she didn't do her laundry, and she had no other choice. She had to ban, I think she said, 10 people.
Yeah, she said, 10 people, she said.
And it wasn't the fact that these people were just, like, randos coming in.
No, apparently they were, like, normal viewers. People that have
they
been
were normal viewers. She had said that, like, what bothers me most is I can see their chat history, and they were here yesterday, and they were completely normal. And the one specific example, she said this guy was completely normal yesterday, comes into chat today, first thing he says is, I want to see a tit.
Jesus.
I was there for that, and I was fucking pissed.
I didn't actually see that fucking stream.
I was pissed off. I was there for a decent amount of it, and it pissed me off. And it pissed me off because I saw how defeated she got.
Yeah.
Because she sat there going, I can't even wear this top that I like because this is the shit I get.
Yeah.
And then she goes on Twitter to vent.
And then people are like, oh.
And people
just lifted the camera up a bit higher.
People were literally, one guy literally said, all you had to do was tilt your camera up, but you didn't want to do that because you didn't want to lose your views. That's what he fucking said. And to that guy, you're not watching, but if you are, go fuck yourself.
Yep. Fuck you.
Go fuck yourself. Disgusting. And Katie went off on him, thank God. She stood up for herself, and I'm really, really happy to see that.
Right. It's in our British blood. We don't give a fuck.
And it was the other one that really stuck with me, that this guy tweeted at her twice, saying that if these trolls or these pervs were smart, they wouldn't say anything, and then you don't get harassed, and they can stare at your chest all day. To which my response is, why would you tell her that?
Yeah.
Even if you think that, why would you say that to her? You realize now that you've put in her head that that's all that, when she's live, that's all anyone's doing, is just staring at her chest. That fucks with the person. It fucks with women. Yeah. It fucks with women. They already deal with that on a daily basis.
And basically what you're saying is just hide that you're doing that, which is even fucking worse.
Yes. It's the fact that, and again, how many times in society are we going to tell women, well, men are pieces of shit, so you have to adjust? Fuck that. Fuck that. We as men have to adjust so that they can do whatever they want. The same thing that we're doing whatever we want.
Like trolling and slapshot rebound.
Yeah. or just wearing whatever the fuck we want. How many men just walk downtown fucking New York City shirtless? You ever seen a woman do that? No. You know why? Because society won't allow them to. Well, I'm saying, I'm sure there's some examples.
No, I know.
But
there are some examples.
You know what I mean.
But you know, that example is like, what? I'd say less than 1%.
Yeah. And it's
compared to the guys who do it.
It's so frustrating because it's like, you really think that a woman is going to walk around like downtown shirtless? They already get fucking whistled at when they go past the construction construction lot when they're 16 years old.
Yeah, that's a big thing in Britain. That is like a main thing. You stay away from construction sites.
You know what fucked with my head was when Sarah told me I used to get more messages from adults when I was in high school. That fucked with my head.
Jesus.
And she's talked about how, she used to get catcalled and all that walking down the street when she was 16. The older she got, the less it happened. And it grosses me out beyond belief that we have this mentality of like, it's just, and again, it feeds into this whole episode is a lot about feminism, the Game Grumps thing, and now this, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be more down the line as well. But the issue that is we always tell the woman, you have to adjust. Well, you got drunk with the man. It's kind of your fault you got raped because you got drunk. That's on you. What? Like, no. Why is it on you when he also got drunk and could have not done that? Like,
no, not even just that. Didn't get as drunk.
Well, yeah. In a lot of situations, and you can't tell me that a lot of them don't know what they're doing. A lot of them do. It's just, to me in general, we need to stop putting the forceful change on the woman for men's issues in life. And now I'm just thinking back to an old John Oliver I watched where he's talking about Tucker Carlson. And Tucker Carlson literally said, men are canceled. That's been done. Men are canceled.
Right. Me and Nick have been talking behind the scenes about putting like a regular thing on the podcasts. John Oliver is not one of them. We just happened to find something that he links into.
Well, a lot of my political opinions come from the information I've heard from John Oliver, and a lot of the, like, Tucker Carlson, he did a whole piece on him, and I recommend you watch it because it's shocking.
Yeah.
Like, would you know who Tucker Carlson is, right?
The name is familiar. If I see a picture of him, I'll know exactly.
Oh dear God, give me 1 minute. I'll bring him up
my
on
phone right here.
Oh, okay, bring him up. Just search the name Tucker Carlson, and tell me that that's not the most punchable face you've ever seen in your entire life.
He looks like a Republican.
That's because he is.
Oh.
He's right wing. He's on Fox News. He's an absolute psychopath. And to be honest, he's one of the worst people on the planet. That's an exaggeration.
His name is Dick.
That is an exaggeration. But he is a really awful person. One of the worst lines I think I've heard of him say was about abortion. Women should be proud to be blessed with the gift of motherhood. Was one of the things I believe he said once. Like, I don't have the words to describe how much I hate you right now. Like, holy fucking shit, you're an asshole. But yeah, I've heard another thing he said was men are canceled. How? How are men canceled? They still get paid more than women. They still get to do shit that women can't do. The amount of privilege that men have over women is disgusting and still hasn't gone anywhere. It's improving. It's not close enough, and that needs to change. So, Katie, we love you. And fuck all these fucking assholes on Twitter that think they're top shit. And just fuck people on Twitter. Can I say that? Fuck most people on Twitter. Like 90% of Twitter can go fuck itself.
I absolutely agree with you there.
It's just a cesspool, dude. Like, it's awful. It's my favorite social media platform.
Every time I go on Twitter, there's always something.
And it's still my favorite social media platform because it's probably still the least toxic that I've seen. There you go.
There we go.
It's perfect that you're...
Well.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's perfect that you've covered half the word. But yeah, I hate seeing the blatant sexism, and it's been getting to me a lot this week, and I just really fucking hate it. And I've just tried to change, because I haven't been perfect. I'm not trying to say I've been perfect. But it's...
No one can say they've been perfect.
No, we've all done sexist shit in our lives, and the important thing is we learn that they're wrong, and we fucking change.
Damn fucking right.
We get better, and I'm definitely looking to do that. So now we have our...
Sorry, I just looked over at my fucking webcam preview. I love it.
It's pretty great, and you're gonna keep it throughout the episode because a lot of this episode is about don't be a cunt. But are you ready, Billy?
I am ready, but what am I ready for?
It's time for the lightning round.
At least it's not a penis.
Could be a penis. But no, it's time for the lightning round. So Billy doesn't have a lot of time, so we have to do a lightning round instead.
I can push it. Actually, do you know what? Fuck it. I can push it for another hour.
It's fine. All this shit isn't super well researched anyway. It's just basic topics that I wanted to touch on because they're ridiculous. So we'll still do a lightning round. Are you ready, Billy?
I'm ready for the lightning round.
Lightning round number 1. Virginia has removed the death penalty. They are the first ones in the American South to do so. They have also killed the most people on death row than any other state. The most important... At least
they're efficient.
True. You know what the most important stat is, though?
Go on, then.
80% of the people they killed were black.
At least they're efficient in the wrong way.
They're efficient racists.
Yeah.
Like, it's just...
They got the people dead. They just got the wrong people dead.
It's so... Whenever you see something like that, it's like, oh, well, just 80% of black people were the worst criminals then. No. Like, how could you possibly look at that stat and be like, well, that's not racist? Like, it's clearly racist. Like, so
Very much so.
Thank God Virginia has fixed their mistakes and is going to remove the death penalty. And
well, you say that.
Okay.
But now this just means more incarceration for longer time periods.
I'm still more in favor of that than the death penalty, I think.
True.
The death penalty, I'm not against. I'm just only for it in extreme circumstances. Like
that hockey guy that you spoke about.
I'm never gonna live that down.
No, you are never gonna live that down.
Like a Richard Ramirez, like a Ted Bundy, someone that has killed like above 10 people. I'm all in favor of it. But
so even in video games, I wouldn't be eligible for the death penalty.
You've killed less than 10 people in a video game. If we're talking
that shit.
If we're talking in one game of RE6, then definitely I would still be eligible. Anyway, next up is Georgia and a bunch of other states around the U.S. have Georgia, as well as a bunch of other states, have decided to put through a bunch of voting laws to make it harder for people to vote. Because that's the United States. You want a gun? Well, we need to make that as easy as possible. You want to vote? The main way that you get the leaders that you want to run your country in office, let's make that as difficult as possible. Now, what have they changed? A bunch of shit. And to be honest, I don't know all of the shit that they changed because I wasn't going to read a bill. Why would I read an American bill? Fuck that. The main one that was fascinating and also got a lot of media attention and why we're talking about it today, they have outlawed giving free food and water to people waiting in line to vote.
What the fuck?
So, election day is not a paid day off. It's not. So basically, there's going to be long ass fucking lines. And now, if you give people food and water so that they don't pass out of dehydration standing in the sun, I mean, it's November usually, but still. People still get dehydrated pretty easily. I'm dehydrated now. You can hear it in my goddamn voice.
So, same with me.
And if you give water to them, you're a criminal.
Well, at least you can go to Virginia.
True. The thing that bothers me most about, is this going to be one of those laws that, no one enforces? I hope that's what the case is. I really do, because if there's cops just staring at the line you better not give anyone water.
Don't take donuts.
Yeah, no fucking donuts for you people. I would be shook. You give food and water to people that are working on your house for an hour.
Yeah.
These people can wait in line up to 12 hours and you're just going to let them drop and
Shit, in the UK, it's basically a crime not to give someone tea.
I want to give you some tea. All I can think about is that fucking clip, man. Oh my God, you've been waiting a long time, so I just came out here to offer you some tea. God, he's such a he's a cunt. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching this. You're probably not, but I know you hate that word. Amazon... Yeah, hates the word cunt. Amazon.
People are cunts. Speaking of cunts.
Speaking of cunts, here's some Amazon. So, it's well known that the conditions in Amazon are not great. And a lot of people say, hey, man, give Amazon praise. They made everyone get paid at least $15 per hour to work there. Yeah, that's...
Can't piss, though.
That's because they realize that their job is fucking terrible. And if they don't increase wages, people won't have a reason to stay. That's that's true of most jobs that are higher paying and better benefits, either because it's a difficult job or because it's a job that sucks so fucking bad that they're not going to be able to keep staff because it's so brutal. The thing with Amazon is basically, in general, you want your package in Amazon Prime, you want it fucking fast. The only way to do that is to basically have someone in a warehouse pretty much run up and down a fucking aisle for 12 hours straight, getting your shit for you. And they've basically said if you miss deadlines, you get pay cuts. Like, you're just fucked.
Hire Roadrunner.
Yeah, hire Wile E. Coyote. There you go. And they just keep literally, the whole thing is about deadlines. You miss a deadline, I don't know if it's a pay cut or whatever, but you get a strike, basically. And there's been lots of YouTube videos, you could just look it up, of Amazon workers coming out and talking about the horrific conditions that they face. There was pregnant women that were told that they weren't allowed to go to the bathroom. Like, truly horrific shit. And basically somebody, I don't remember if it was an article that came out about how they were doing this or if it was someone that just tweeted about it. I got a hair somewhere on me and it's bothering me. But they basically responded. Amazon News responded saying, do you actually believe that this happens? If it happened, no one would work for us.
It happens.
You can't tell me you're that fucking ignorant that you think that that's the case. Like, bro, there are awful jobs that people stay in because they don't have a fucking choice. Your job is one of those jobs. Do what you can to fix it. Denying it is not a thing you're allowed to do. It's just not, because it happens, bro. A lot of people have come out and said this is what happens.
Too many to like slide it off as well.
Way too many. And like it's gross, man. It's gross. Yeah. Because like just basic human decency. You know what I mean? Again, I don't think it should be hard to say, hey, allow your workers to pee. No, I don't think I will. Like, huh? But it's truly awful. And
yeah, it is.
There was another thing I saw. I don't know if you saw this. I wasn't planning on talking about this, but we'll go ahead. Amazon drivers now that have like deliveries on trucks and shit, they were basically told that they have to have a camera on them at all times in their truck that basically has a GPS tracker on it. So the camera will be on them 24/7 while they're driving. And they have to sign a waiver to basically allow this to happen. And if they don't sign the waiver, they're fired. So, yeah. And again, they don't give them time to go to the bathroom. They basically found bags of shit. And they were like, guys, you got to stop doing this. And it's like, why do you think they are? Because you're not giving them time to do it otherwise. Like, no one's voluntarily like, you know what? I'm going to piss in a bottle. Because that's efficient. No one does that. Nobody.
Well, working in a hospital, that's all I ever see fucking people do.
That's a little different, though. Still not good. Oh, wait, are you talking about the patients?
Yes, I'm talking about the patients.
I thought you were talking about the workers.
Oh, fucking hell.
I thought you were talking about the workers. But even if you were talking about the workers, they're saving lives. It's not the same stakes.
Yeah. That's somewhat
still bad.
It's still pretty bad.
But yeah, mostly the patients. But yeah, that was that. Anything else you wanted to bring up on that?
Don't be a cunt.
Don't be a cunt. Now, the last speed round is New Zealand. They did another good thing.
Ooh.
Is there more good PR for a country than New Zealand right now?
mean, most countries are pretty shit, but New Zealand seemed to be pretty good today.
I feel like 9 times out of 10 when I see an article of like, look at how good this country's doing, it's almost always New Zealand lately.
Yeah, I mean, you do get the odd bad apples, like shootings.
Yeah, they did have one of those recently.
Hurricanes.
Yeah.
Like a couple of years ago, I think it was now.
I don't even remember.
The mosque one, right?
I think so, yeah. There's so
that was, I think, 2 years ago.
So many. By the way, as an update to our last episode, the Boulder shooting happened while we were recording, and 10 dead ended up being the number, yeah. I also read yesterday on CNN that there was a Instacart worker. There was an Instacart worker that was in a superstore or supermarket, heard the sounds of shells being loaded into something in a bathroom. So she called the police, and the police arrested a guy that had 6 guns in the stall. So
Jesus.
He was going to do the same exact thing. So thank God for that Instacart worker, because like they saved lives. They saved lives. Because if you have 1 gun on you, that's, I mean, somewhat normal in America, I guess. 6?
6? That's I don't want people to live kind of levels.
You're about to start some shit. So yeah, that's
one handgun. That's fine. That's self-defense, I find. Mm-hmm. If you're not going out willingly ready to use it on other people, like straight off, fine. The only reason I'm saying it's self-defense if you get attacked first.
Did you hear what Lindsey Graham said?
No.
Lindsey Graham is a senator.
He's a piece of shit.
He's a piece of shit. They obviously, because of the situation in Boulder, and there was another shooting the week before, I don't even remember anymore the name. It was is it Atlanta? The horrific it was the racist one in Atlanta.
Georgia.
Yeah. And basically, there was a lot of talk in the news, is this the time to ban guns, whatever, right? Same shit. They don't do any fucking thing. And Lindsey Graham basically said, you're not going to ban this shit. You're not going to do it because it won't even get 50 votes, let alone the 60 it needs. He says you can try to ban them all they want, but when a natural disaster hits and the gangs start to come out, I will be the one with an AR-15 and my house will be defended.
Okay.
So,
first thing I want to say right off the bat, that is not a natural disaster. A natural disaster is something like a fucking volcano going off, not someone going around your house and shooting up your grandma.
This is something that I think is really spawned from 24-hour news stations. Paranoia is rampant.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in the States, but basically every country, I think, somewhat Americanized country. I think Canada's awful for it. I know Britain is awful for it. I mean, hell, that's basically what the Brexit was all about in general, was just paranoia about the EU somehow thinking they're better than you guys. And you're like,
okay, I'm going to set this straight right now. Brexit is not what you think it is. Because no fucker knows what it is.
There you go.
We went through it for fucking years and we have no idea.
Well, that was the problem from the beginning. And then,
no one knows what happened.
But basically with it, in the States, Lindsey Graham somehow thinks that there's going to be a natural disaster and gangs are just going to come out of the woodwork and they're just going to start pillaging and raping like they're barbarians.
Gangs are already out in the fucking open. You got the Bloods, you got the Crips, you got the lesser known ones.
What are you even talking about, bro? And also, if there's a natural disaster in your state, you're a senator. Do something. Yourself. Your entire job is to do something about it. So the one tweet I saw was basically like, oh, so if there's a natural disaster in your state, either you leave the state like Ted Cruz or you fucking barricade yourself in like Lindsey Graham. That's how U.S. senators see it. Like, I was just blown away by that. I was literally like, what is this paranoia you have that when a flood comes in, society just fucking collapses. Like, I don't understand people. But that's
People
why
are shitty.
that's why they're so goddamn clutching with their guns, man. Like, it's ridiculous to me. But anyway, New Zealand is what we were talking about.
How did we get to shooting?
I don't remember anymore.
Okay, no, I know.
The point is that they have passed a law that basically gives both parents that have, obviously the mother would be the one in this case, that would suffer a miscarriage. Both parents are allowed to take a 3-day full paid leave after a miscarriage happens. And they are the first country to give a full paid leave. India also has a partial pay, but New Zealand is the first to give a full paid leave. It's only 3 days, which could be a lot better than that, obviously.
But it's still better than nothing.
Hearing it's the first in 2021?
It's surprising.
It's really surprising. Like, I'm obviously not a mother.
I'd be surprised if you were.
I never will be a mother. I can't imagine the pain that a mother faces through a miscarriage, especially if it's something where, like, I mean, obviously there are some that may not have wanted the child in the first place. Maybe it's a rape thing. You know, you never know. There are obviously instances where it could be a good thing to have a miscarriage. The majority of the time, it's a bad thing. And the pain of having that take place and having that joy of, oh my God, I'm going to have a child. It's something that you think about, like, when you're a kid, you think about it like it's just, oh my God, I'm going to have kids one day and this is going to be amazing. And to have that torn away from you, I can't imagine the pain that would cause. And they're basically like, fuck you, get back to work. Like, huh?
From what I've heard, I mean,
Well, you work in a hospital.
You have Morty behind you, right?
I do. Why?
Yeah. Imagine Morty dropping dead right now.
Yeah.
And imagine that tenfold.
Yeah. It's heartbreaking.
That's what I've been told by, like, parents who've had them.
Yeah, I know my mother herself has had some, and I remember how hard it was for her to talk about it, and it was just some of the shit, man, that you hear. It's just like, fucking Christ. And the fact that it's
some mothers, it brings in like a PTSD kind of thing as well.
Well, yeah. Because now when you get pregnant
especially
again,
first time, yeah.
Like, it just got, I know that she had multiple before me and my sister, and I'm sure probably the entire pregnancy she's thinking, oh my God, what if it happens again?
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's got to be so scary to think about shit like that constantly. But obviously that's long term. But, like, just short term wise, having that happen and then being like, yeah, I'll go to work tomorrow. No. Like, no. I don't want to wake up tomorrow, let alone go to my job. Like, are you kidding me? And
it is fucked.
And I mean, hey, some people cope by working. Like, there's a lot of people that are like, I'm having a horrible fucking day. Get me to work. The distraction is good. That's what I like to do. And
Nick is not one of those people.
I am the opposite of those people. But, congrats to you. If that's how it is, you don't have to take the leave. It's not forced. Like, it just should be an option.
Yeah.
I also love the fact that it's both parents. So, even the person that is not carrying the child, it also can take the leave. Because, yes, it's not the same. It does
affect the fathers as well.
It's not the same, but it's still really fucking heartbreaking, man.
Yeah.
Especially if you've already, like, made the nursery, like, picked out the clothes, like, you You've probably thought about names. Like, it's so horrific to think about. And again, bringing this back to sexism, the fact that this is not automatically a thing is shocking and blatantly sexist to me. Because, like, they're just like, well, I mean, why would she need it? Fuck her, right? Get over it, cupcake. Like,
He did.
Yeah, like, I just don't understand. I don't know. There's so many. I think a lot of the feminist issues in general, I didn't think about as much until I got a girlfriend and was like, you know, that is kind of fucked up. Why do your razors cost more? Why do your razors cost more? Why is it that
the same fucking thing? They're literally the same blades, just slightly more tilted.
Why is it the birth control is pushed on you all the time? Why is that? That's kind of fucked up. Like, a lot of little things like that. You just never think of it. And then it's just like, oh, man, I guess it is kind of fucked up. But this is one of those things where some countries don't even have fucking mat leave. And that's embarrassing in itself. And now you're going to tell me, like, this shit is like, man, it should be mandatory everywhere. And I hope that a lot of governments are watching not this podcast. This podcast. Hope they're watching New Zealand and taking notes and going, that's a good idea. We should do that. Because I think it's important.
Watching this podcast. We are not terrorists.
Read that. Don't be a cunt.
Don't.
Can you imagine? One of my favorite Eminem lines is there's a song, it's called The Ringer, and he talks about how the President Trump actually sent the Secret Service to Eminem's house. And this is a real story.
I've heard of this.
Yeah, to see if he was linked to terrorism because of all the hateful shit he was saying in his songs towards Trump. And it's funny because of how bad it is, but he basically says, because I know at least he's heard it, because Agent Orange just sent the Secret Service to find out if I'm linked to terrorism. And I said, no, only when it comes to ink and lyricism. And then he brings up how he won't talk back because he knows he will lyrically get murdered. And it's like, I mean, yeah. Trump's not a rapper, Em. What did you think he was gonna do?
Trump drops a mixtape dissing
him. And I love Eminem more than most people legally should. But that was a line where I was like, you sure about that? That's a bit weird to say. So yeah, that wraps up the lightning round. It wasn't very lightning-y, I guess. We ended up talking about a lot of shit. But the next topic we're going to get into is actually hockey.
Okay.
Now, hockey this week is both historic and current at the same time.
Damn, you really are trying to get me out of it quick.
So, Billy, when it comes to hockey, there's something you have to understand.
Okay.
Hockey in general has basically had an obsession with parity, with making things fair. So in general, it's the opposite of the NBA, where the NBA basically says, hey, your team sucks, nobody likes you, get fucked. Meanwhile, all the best players sign on one team and they win the championship and everybody's happy. The NHL is the opposite. The NHL is basically anyone can win. Who will it be? 32 teams. You know, they just don't give a fuck. It's very rare that you have dynasties in the NHL, and it still does happen. It's happened decently of late, but the majority of the time they focus on anybody can win. Anyone can have a great year. Because of the salary cap, you give the teams that have no money more money, and the teams that are bajillionaires, they can't spend bajillionaire money.
Anyone can win.
Yes.
Apart from the Toronto Maple Leafs. They can't win.
Yes. But again, it's a situation where because of that parity, it really hinders the Leafs. Because the Leafs have like the second most money out of any team. They could sign whoever the fuck they wanted for gajillion dollars, just like the Yankees do every year. But they can't do that.
So it's a good thing that they can lose.
See, it depends on how you think about it. Like
you're a fan, you'll always say that no, it's not a good thing they can lose. I want them to win.
Well, no, it depends on your outlook. Like the NBA makes really good money. They make a shitload of money, but a lot of the franchises that aren't as popular don't make as much money, right? So because the league is so star-driven, it's a good thing because you're tuning in to watch LeBron James. You're not tuning in to watch the fucking Milwaukee Bucks, or that's a bad example, the Sacramento Kings. You're not tuning in to watch the Sacramento Kings. You probably just found out that's a team. You knew who LeBron James was. Did you know who the Sacramento Kings were?
No.
Exactly. That's my point. So stars are what drive sports leagues, and that's what you should be marketing. The NHL instead decides, fuck that, and we're going to market to local, and that's what's going to happen. Because of parity, another thing that the NHL has done for basically years is make-up calls. If you look at the stats, most games, penalty-wise, are called pretty evenly, meaning that one team gets about 3 penalties, the other team gets about 4 penalties. It's very rare that you'll see a game where there's one team made 1 penalty, the other team, they had about 6 penalties. Very rare. The reason for that basically is a secret, is that there are makeup calls. Basically meaning that if one team gets a call that, may be a bit questionable, still probably a penalty, but you could have let it go. Now, the other team takes a penalty that was definitely not a penalty, but could be considered a penalty, they're going to call it. Just because, we kind of fucked up a bit on that one, so we'll give this guy a penalty.
Okay.
It's been happening for years. Not fair enough. Because what I just told you is that it's not really a penalty. So why would you call it if it's not a penalty?
No, I mean, if it was the other... Oh, wait, actually, I see what you mean.
Right? Because even if a team does get a penalty, they should be given a penalty, then the other team doesn't cause one, well, then they shouldn't. It's very, very rare that it's going to be even, right? And it's always even. So what happened was there was a referee by the name of Tim Peel. Now, Tim Peel has been a referee, I think, for 19 years. And what happened was on the broadcast, they have mics. We've watched videos of the players mic'd up, right? The referees are also mic'd up from time to time. And basically, they were cutting to commercial. But as they were cutting to commercial, somebody decided that they were going to test the referee's mic on broadcast to see if it would show up, which is a completely normal practice. It was just a case of bad timing because they thought they were going to commercial. They did it a little bit too early, so it was actually played on broadcast. So basically, what he ends up saying is, it's the perfect way he says it too, but he basically says, I really wanted to get Nashville a fucking penalty here early in the second. And that was on broadcast. Now, swearing on broadcast is somewhat normal. They try to reduce it, but it happens, unfortunately. But it's the wording. I wanted to get Nashville a penalty early in the second. You wanted to? You're a ref. You're supposed to give Nashville a penalty when they commit a penalty.
Yeah.
But you wanted to give them a penalty. So basically what he's saying is Detroit got a penalty earlier. He wanted to make up for it by giving Nashville a penalty early in the second. So he blatantly said what everyone kind of already knew, which was, hey, we do make up calls. This caused a massive issue because the NHL's big secret is out. So, what are they going to do about it? Tim Peel was set to retire in April. So what they did was they basically said, you're not going to referee anymore. You're not fired.
But you're not going to ref.
But you're not going to referee for the next month. You're just done. So, still gets his pension, which is nice. Yep. Still gets his pension. He's not legally fired. He's just not scheduled for any more games. And, like, listen, originally it seemed like he was fired, so people were losing their fucking minds.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it's still shitty to be like, I've refereed this league for 19 years, and you're not even going to let me retire on my own terms.
No, exactly.
For doing a thing that you allow us to do forever, and has always been a thing that has happened in this league. Basically, they're told. They're pretty much told. And to do it. And the thing that's fucked up about it is they've started recently to get into gambling in the league. If you're betting on that game and you hear that, how do you feel confident in your bet?
No, exactly.
Right?
You wouldn't.
Because the referee just blatantly said, I'm just giving this team a penalty because I feel like it. Now that game, if Detroit scores on that power play, well, the game is fixed then. What the fuck is that? Right? So, in general, giving makeup calls is super wrong and super fucked up, and they should never have been doing this in the first place. On the other hand, just because Tim Peel is the one who said it, doesn't mean you get to throw him under the bus and pretend that nothing is wrong. You just get to say, hey, buddy, fuck you, bye-bye. We're not going to address the problem. Go about your day. Like, so pretty much everybody is on the NHL's case for this because it's complete and utter bullshit. They've been doing this forever. Tim Peel's the only one that got caught, and you're making him the scapegoat for no fucking reason, and it's disgusting. It's disgusting, and fuck you, NHL, for doing that. You could have at least let the man retire for doing his job the same way he's done it for 19 fucking years. So yeah, I've said many times I love the game of hockey, not the biggest fan of the league. They drive me nuts. Don't be a cunt, NHL. Make your referees call the game as it is meant to be fucking called. It has been a thing for years that in the playoffs, refs just put away their whistles. Basically meaning it's a different game entirely. Which is so stupid. Why would the game be different in the playoffs? Why would the sport fundamentally change? It doesn't make any fucking sense. Anyway, to wrap that segment up, we've got two new segments. One of them is going to be returning, for sure. The second one, we might return. It's just going to be not as frequent. One is going to be a weekly. One is not. We're going to start with this brand new segment. I don't have a name for it. Stand up. We're both big fans of stand-up comedy.
Damn fucking right.
And so we decided, at the time, it was like Thursday, and I had like no topics for this show. And then a bunch of shit happened. So I was like,
literally in the space of 3 days, we filled
everything happened. So I was like, let's come up with some ideas for things that we can talk about that aren't really, news specific, and it's just fun stuff we can talk about. So I came up with these two ideas. One is going to be weekly. This one is going to be not weekly, but we'll see if we do it again. We're just going to talk about our favorite stand-up comedian and something that we recommend you watching. So, Billy, You go first.
Oh, fuck. Okay, right.
I've talked for like 20 straight minutes.
So, the guy I've been watching since I was actually little, and I probably shouldn't have been watching him, but his name is Lee Evans. He is fucking funny. He's retired now, sadly. He retired 2014? 2015? He retired something. But he's a fucking funny guy, and he's very active in his shows to the point where he said himself he could only wear one of his suits for 3 shows before he had to throw it away because of the salt in his sweat.
Ew. Damn, man.
It sounds disgusting, but it is just so fucking funny. The shit he can pull off.
So what kind of humor is it?
Do you know what? He does quite a bit of humor. He goes from it's kind of like story segments, but short story segments.
Okay, kind of short story.
Yeah, but oh fucking hell, is
it musical at all, or?
At the end, usually he will do like a musical thing.
Okay,
cool. It's only at the end. It's not throughout the entire thing.
Is it like offensive shit? I'm assuming it is because it's you. Or is it more like?
There are some tiny bits that can be. It's not mic offensive, but it can be very, very slightly offensive to some people.
Okay, so just general storytelling.
Just general storytelling. It's fucking. I will send you a clip later. He's an incredible guy.
I wrote the name down, but if you can send me a clip, that makes it better.
Yeah, I would definitely send you a clip.
So yeah, mine is if my dad is watching this, he won't be surprised, but it's George Carlin.
Okay.
I would still consider him the greatest comedian to ever live.
I'll write his name down.
He's just a master at not necessarily, he's not always hilarious, but he's always got your attention. He's always got you listening to whatever he's saying. And he's just a master performer in that sense where even if what he's saying isn't hilarious, you're still like, that's an excellent point, George. Like he's very, very good at telling stories. He's very good at breaking down society's norms and just kind of saying, hey, this is weird, isn't it? Very offensive, I would say.
Nice.
But
just looking him up now, it doesn't look like he's got any shows, does it?
Huh?
Doesn't look like he has any shows scheduled.
No, he's dead as shit.
Yeah.
He died in 2008.
Yes, he did.
Unfortunately, and truly, I wish he was around so bad. If you asked me who was one person, celebrity, obviously my grandpa would be the first person I'd bring back from the dead. But if you're talking celebrity to bring back from the dead, I would say George Carlin, because I would love to know what he thinks about this current era of life, because he talked a lot about politics. He talked a lot about language. Never talked about his family. I didn't even know he had a family. Like, you have to look that shit up. Most comedians now are about fucking their wives. You know, Bill Burr's a good example.
Lee Evans as well.
Yeah, Bill Burr's a good example. Talks about his wife, and you know, Louis C.K. was all about fatherhood, and George was just straight up, he didn't even know he had family. He barely talked about his mother, barely talked about his father, never talked about having kids, his wife, none of that shit. The most family he ever got into was like his dog named Tippy. But he had 2 eras. He had his goofy era, and then he had his political serious era. So
yeah.
His goofy era is from about, if we're going on HBO specials, which he has like 13, you're going from like 1977 till about 1984, 5, I want to say. And those are the ones where he basically says, he starts a certain show by saying, do you ever get in an argument with your breakfast food? He's like, I poured a bowl of Rice Krispies this morning, and I turned around to get the milk from the fridge, and I specifically heard them say, snap, crackle, fuck him. I don't know which one of them said it. I was not looking at the bowl, but like, that's the kind of humor he was, right? Yeah. And then later on, he has his serious political, which is very much, talking about religion and talking about politics in general. A great line would be, Have you ever noticed the people who are against abortion are the same people that you want to have sex with in the first place? And that's the kind of fucked up humor that he had. But he was also in, I honestly don't think there's a lot of shit that he said that you can look at nowadays and be like, that's cancelable. There's not much. There was one suicide segment that was pretty fucked up. And he has...
It wasn't his. He didn't commit suicide live.
No. Basically, what that is he was saying, he's like, did you know that right now, technically, because he basically said this many people commit suicide. And he was like, that's this many people a year. That's this many people every month. That means there's one every 1.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And there goes another guy. Like, that was the kind of shit that he would do. And it's like, there's some shit in there that's pretty fucked up. He also does one rape joke that I know a lot of people wouldn't find funny. I still think it's funny. But there's a lot of people that are just like, not an option. You can't joke about that, which is actually what the joke is about.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think he is very timeless, and I definitely recommend anyone that finds political humor funny, that finds religious, anti-religious. I want to make that clear. It's anti-religious.
That's kind of shit I like.
But again, 13 shows. 13. This man has hours of content. 3 books, not including his biography, just humor books. Like, amazing comic. Number 1 recommendation is Jamming in New York. 1992 show, phenomenal show. And definitely recommend doing George Carlin if you can. So, on to the last segment. I know that Billy's excited for this one.
This is a very, very good one.
So,
I know exactly what's coming, but I'm going to have to sacrifice.
I have not come up with a name for it yet. But
no.
Basically, the concept of this segment is that every week, I was about to say once a week. It's every week anyway. Every week on this show, Billy and I are going to give each other songs that we want the other person to listen to. Then the next week, we're going to come back and we're going to review those songs that we got the previous week. And then we'll give each other new ones and the cycle continues. So I thought this would be fun because, maybe you guys can join in. You pick a song. You tell us if you love that song. If you hate that song, do you agree with our review? And then you also get to check out new music that you might not have listened to, as well as we both get to check out new music we might not have listened to. So I think it's a really cool idea. So this is our first time we're going to do it. Billy, What is the song you're giving me this week?
I am giving you a song that I touched upon briefly in a previous podcast. It is by a band called Myth City.
Myth City?
Yes. It is called The Vendetta. And I think you like rap, you like a little bit of rap, and you like rock. So I'm mixing the two for you.
Okay. I will say this, and I'm not proud of this opinion, but this is basically my feelings. I'm not necessarily a fan of rap, but I am a fan of Eminem.
Okay, fair enough.
I am not proud of that, and I would like to branch out, but in general, I'm really hard at reaching new artists. I'm really bad for it. I fall back on my old artists that I've loved forever. I will say I like some Childish Gambino songs. But that's about it. So I will look that up. Myth City, The Vendetta. I will definitely take a look. Mine, guess what?
Is it Eminem?
It's Eminem. I decided that the first one's going to be Eminem, and then I'm going to give you a bunch of different artists throughout. So, I'm not going to continually give you Eminem. You may have heard this one, and if you've heard this one, I'm going to give you another one that's not Eminem instead.
Okay.
It's Darkness by Eminem.
Nope. Not heard that one.
This one is brand new. It came out early this year. And the reason why I'm giving it to you is it's very topical.
Fair
And
enough.
that's the only thing I'm going to say. If you can, watch the video on YouTube to it as well, and make sure you don't look at the comments or anything while you watch it. Just sit there, full screen it, and just take it in. And we'll talk about our feelings on it next week, and we'll go from there. But that's basically been the end. Was there anything else you wanted to touch on before we go, Billy?
Not really. This week was a pretty slow week up until Friday.
Literally Friday. Literally Friday.
We were talking about on the Thursday. Just we've got absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I think I wrote down. What did I even write down?
I don't even think you wrote down anything.
I wrote down 3 ideas, but most of those ideas we talked about on the episode before because we took so long to record.
Yeah.
And then from there, I just had to come up with shit. But then what happened was I subscribed to Philip DeFranco's newsletter because he sends out emails now of the news as well as YouTube videos in case like he can't reach every topic. He'll just throw out ones.
Okay.
And it's great. I love Philip DeFranco. You're fucking OG, bro. I love you. You'll never see this, but I love you. So yeah, that's basically.
I'll just tag him in this when it comes out.
Yeah, really. Notice me, senpai. But yeah, that's basically how
That's a way to get banned.
Hell yeah. But that's basically what a lot of those topics, especially the political ones, came from. Was just his newsletter, and I was like, these are interesting, and I think we should talk about them. So that's pretty much the gist of it. But yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, I will get this up by Friday. Future Nick, get this up by Friday if you can, please. If you can't, then you're a lazy fuck. But we will see you guys.
So nothing's changed there then.
Yeah, exactly. But we will see you guys next week. Follow us both on Twitter, both on Twitch as well. The links will be in the description, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.
And guys,
don't be a cunt. Don't be a fucking cunt.